Alright, we about to react to this video. Let's do it.
Shout out to Turkey, little bitch, you ain't here before.
Find something safe to play with, please. What? No. Find something safe to play.
On October 25th, 2025, man, Birdman didn't just take an L at that versus clash. He lost the whole storyline. The man completely spun out. Bird even tried to shout out Turkey, but everyone was like, "Lil bro, you not even here." That night flipped the entire internet upside down. Viral chaos, public beefs catching fire, and 3 decades worth of sketchy cash money business getting yanked straight out the vault. And all of it popped off inside Complex Con, when the versus battle turned from friendly to explosive in seconds. Now picture this, one of the most connected bosses in hip-hop, a dude who built careers for some of the biggest names to ever bless a mic, suddenly looking trapped in his own emotions with the world watching. Cameras still rolling, fans recording from every angle, and then boom, somebody says the wrong thing at the worst possible moment. Everything went left fast.
This money ain't gonna never die. Long as I'm alive, hold on, Fresh, wait, Fresh. Long as I'm alive, cash money ain't gonna never die. Shout out to my NBA young boy, NBA rich gang. Who don't like it? We with all the bullshit. If you ain't with us, you.
That night, October 25th, 2025, the streets finally saw it all go down for real. Cash Money Records versus No Limit Records, the long-awaited Southern showdown at Complex Con in Vegas. The first versus battle in more than 3 years, and people were hyped like never before. What was supposed to be a celebration of 2 legendary hip-hop empires turned into pure madness that had everybody, from fans to bloggers to other artists, talking non-stop. Because right after that versus wrapped up, chaos broke loose. Birdman's own people started leaking footage, wild, uncomfortable clips that went crazy online. The videos painted a picture of a man out of control, tweaking, snapping, losing focus. After decades of wins, mountains of money, and an empire that built generations of artists, Birdman
Bro, they wanted Wayne to be there so bad, bro.
suddenly looked like he was slipping, like the whole story he built was cracking in real time. Let's break down what really went down that night and all the messy fallout that came after. To understand the weight of it, you gotta know how massive this moment was for the culture. Versus, the creation of hip-hop icons Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, was born during the 2020 lockdowns, a brilliant idea that turned competition into a worldwide event. It was a platform where artists and labels went hit for hit, bar for bar, no excuses. Fans across the world tuned in, making it must-watch entertainment for every real hip-hop head.
I got the best thing since cake and ice cream. It's real.
The formula was simple. 2 camps face off, drop their biggest anthems, and the internet decides the winner. And for this matchup, it was heavyweight versus heavyweight. Cash Money Records, founded by Birdman and his brother Slim back in '91, facing off against No Limit Records, the empire Master P built from the ground up in 1990. This wasn't just another battle, it was history clashing live, with egos, legacies, and reputations all on the line. Both crews came up out of New Orleans, same city, same hustle, but 2 very different empires. Both ruled the late 90s and early 2000s, shaping how the South sounded and moved. Cash Money built its rep off that wild bounce production, that diamond-dripped energy, and a superstar lineup that shifted the whole rap landscape. Lil Wayne, Juvenile, the Hot Boys, all carrying that flashy, unstoppable Cash Money vibe.
Find something safe to play with, please. What? No. Find something safe to play with.
No Limit, though, they came with an entirely different type of power. That military-style branding, those hard-hitting beats, and a roster so deep it looked like an army. Master P, Mystical, Silk the Shocker, and yeah, even Snoop Dogg joined the camp at one point. When the battle got streamed live on Apple Music, the second the first track dropped, people knew this was about to be a night hip-hop would never forget. On the No Limit side, Master P rolled through heavy. Mia X, Silk the Shocker, Mystical, Chopper, the crew was stacked. And then, out of nowhere, Snoop Dogg popped up as the surprise guest, setting the whole place on fire. Fans lost it. If you remember, Snoop had that No Limit run between '98 and 2001, and he reminded everyone why that era was one of his most iconic chapters. Mia X completely owned that stage. Her performance had the crowd roaring, and even celebrities online couldn't stop giving her props.
Sued Birdman and Cash Money for $51 million. He was trying to get out of his contract as well. He also sued Universal Music for $40 million, saying he was owed royalties for Young Money art.
Then Snoop closed out No Limit set with Down for Mine, featuring C Murder and Magic. And man, the roof almost came off. It was straight history. The crowd went crazy. Meanwhile, on the Cash Money side, Birdman showed up with BG, Manny Fresh, and Juvenile, promising a partial Hot Boys reunion. But Lil Wayne and Turk, nowhere in sight. They hit the crowd with the classics, Get Your Shine On, Project B, Juvenile's legendary Back That Ass Up, and even Wayne's Go DJ, though Wayne himself wasn't there to perform it. Fans online were loving the nostalgia, but couldn't ignore how chaotic the event felt. There were tech glitches, set confusion, and awkward pauses all night. Still, there were real moments of love. BG even shouted across the stage, "I love you, Mia," a moment that had social media melting. But when the smoke cleared, the consensus was loud. No Limit cooked. And that's when the night flipped.
Wish that you guys didn't break up and stayed a unit, or you just weren't getting paid from them. They weren't cutting the checks.
That's what it was, man. You know, I wanted to stay. You know, you never want to leave a winning team. You know, that's just like Jordan leaving the Bulls. You know, and I just felt like I need to be compensated for. I'm working hard. I just want to get paid for it.
Birdman's face said it all. Frustration boiling over as the verses wrapped up. He snatched the mic and launched into a heated rant that had the internet going wild. But it wasn't just the tone, it was what he said. He directly called out Turk from the Hot Boys, who was missing that night. And it was clear this wasn't just stage talk, this was personal. And with millions watching, the tension was impossible to ignore. Turk didn't stay quiet either. He jumped on social media immediately and fired back, reigniting their long-running beef in real time. But what happened after the show is what really blew everything up. See, that night was supposed to be Birdman's big return, a victory lap to remind everyone that Cash Money Records was still a major force. Despite all the lawsuits, fallouts, and artists leaving and coming back, Birdman wanted to show he was still that boss. But instead, he had to sit there and watch No Limit dominate, watch Snoop Dogg steal the spotlight with records that didn't even come from his label, and hear the crowd keep talking about the absences of Wayne and Turk. For a man who built his whole image around winning and being untouchable, this was the last thing he wanted to see.
Was it a bad contract, or they just wasn't paying nobody?
Yeah, it was a bad contract. It was a bad contract, and it was just other things going on outside of that where I felt like I needed to get paid for, like shows, a lot of things.
By the time the camera stopped rolling, you could feel the tension through the screen. Birdman wasn't letting it go, not that easy. He stormed out of the venue, clearly frustrated, and that's when he crossed paths with Kenny Brooks. Now, if you've been online in the last few years, you know Kenny Brooks, the hilarious Detroit salesman who went viral for his over-the-top door-to-door skits. Whether he's pitching cleaning products or cracking jokes about shining shoes, Kenny's one of the internet's favorite funny men. Everyone loves him. So when he spotted Birdman outside, he thought it'd be cool to approach him for a quick laugh, maybe film a fun little moment. Kenny came through with,
like, what's up with that, bro? Like, bro, dude is a good dude, bro. Like, what? Like, bro, you snapping on dude, bro?
his usual charm, saying something like, "I got the best thing since cake and ice cream," just being playful. But that's when everything flipped sideways. Birdman didn't take it as a joke. Word is, he thought Kenny was throwing shade, maybe connecting that ice cream line to Master P's famous nickname, Ice Cream Man, from his 1996 classic album. Intentional or not, Birdman took it personally, especially with the sting of that versus loss still fresh. What was supposed to be a lighthearted exchange suddenly turned tense, and that moment would become the spark that set the internet ablaze all over again. That's when Birdman snapped. He looked at Kenny Brooks and told him, "Find something safe to play with," and then started going off about how he was the one who started the whole trend of diamonds and teeth and face tattoos. The confrontation was all caught on video, and within hours, it was everywhere. Clips were getting reposted, memes flooded timelines, and everyone had an opinion. By January 2026, Kenny Brooks finally broke his silence and explained what really went down. In a video, he said, "I unintentionally said something to make Birdman upset." He made it clear that his cake and ice cream line was meant as a compliment, not disrespect. It was all love, but by then, the internet had already run wild with it. The memes were non-stop, and Birdman was once again the center of controversy.
When Universal gave me a bag, brother, I can honestly say I gave Wayne about $400 to $500 million. Drake got about $500 million, and Nicki got about $300-400 million out my pocket. No cap. You don't believe me? Ask them.
But that viral run-in with Brooks, that was just the surface.
I don't believe that. I don't.
Because what came next, what Birdman's own people started leaking over the next few weeks, was way more serious and way more disturbing. The drama took a dark turn that had everyone questioning who Birdman really was. See, the tension around Birdman wasn't new. It had been building for decades. The Versus meltdown and the Kenny Brooks moment might have looked like a mogul cracking under pressure, but for those who've been following his story for years, it was just another episode in a long, messy saga. Birdman's success had always been paired with controversy, and this time, that shadow grew darker than ever. Then in December 2025, everything exploded again when new footage dropped online. Footage that people described as straight up chilling. The clip showed what looked like a tense and emotional exchange between Birdman and an artist identified only as NB. There wasn't much context. No one knew when or where it was filmed, but the internet instantly jumped to conclusions. Fans called it controlling, aggressive, and unsettling, claiming it hinted at deeper issues within Birdman's mentorship style. Comment sections turned into full-on wars. Some said it exposed long-whispered power struggles in the industry, that Birdman had too much control over his artists. Others defended him, saying people were twisting it, that he'd always treated his artists like family. Still, the clip hit a nerve, and it reignited one question hip-hop's been asking for decades: who is the real Birdman? To understand why this shook so many people, you gotta go back to where it all began, with Birdman's most famous protege, Lil Wayne. Born Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., Wayne was signed to Cash Money Records at just 12 years old in 1995. He came up under Birdman's wing as part of the Hot Boys, alongside Juvenile, BG, and Turk. From there, he rose to become the face of Cash Money, dropping massive albums like the Carter series, and eventually launching Young Money Entertainment in 2005, his own label under the Cash Money umbrella.
Another reason why Birdman is a GOAT.
Yeah.
You know, again, if, you know, and we got to acknowledge this, right? It's reasons why we've criticized him, or the culture's criticized him, that makes him the GOAT, right? Because I don't know if people remember the story, the whole thing about him and Wayne with the money, like, he was on some run and gun shit. Like, if you watch the documentary, he explains it, right? He was like, yo, listen, we didn't really know to do like financials and shit. So we was just like, we was thugging it. We was just trying to get it.
For years, Birdman and Wayne were inseparable, not just label partners, but like family. Birdman called Wayne his son, and Wayne called Birdman daddy. They appeared together constantly, celebrating wins and projecting loyalty. There were even photos floating around of them kissing on the lips, something Birdman later addressed in 2021, calling it a mafia-style gesture and insisting it wasn't inappropriate in any way. But that father-son bond didn't last forever. By December 2014, things hit a breaking point. Wayne went public on Twitter, saying he felt like a prisoner under Cash Money. He claimed Birdman was holding back his long-awaited album, The Carter V, and even said he was owed $8 million in advance money. The feud turned legal fast. By January 2015, Wayne filed a massive $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money, accusing them of breaching their contract and mishandling funds from a $70 million Universal advance. The whole thing cracked open years of hidden tension, money issues, control, loyalty, everything that had been bubbling beneath the surface. Suddenly, that old narrative of Birdman as the powerful mentor got twisted into something darker, someone people weren't sure they could trust. And now, after the chaos of the Versus battle,
the Kenny Brooks confrontation, and that mysterious December footage. It felt like all those past ghosts were coming back to haunt him again. Fans couldn't stop asking, was this just another bad run for Birdman, or the unraveling of a legacy that had been built on shaky ground all along? Wayne's lawsuit against Birdman hit deep. He accused him of using label money for personal luxuries instead of artist development. The case dragged out for years, full of twists and silence from both camps. Then in July 2015, things turned dangerous. Wayne's tour bus got sprayed with bullets, 12 shots fired in Atlanta. Luckily, no one got hurt, but the story took a dark twist when investigators linked the shooting to people tied to both Young Thug and Birdman. Jimmy Carlton Winfrey, Young Thug's former tour manager, was later arrested and convicted for the hit. What made everyone gasp were the phone records. They showed calls to Birdman right before and right after the shooting. Birdman denied having anything to do with it, but the damage to his public image was done. The streets couldn't stop talking about it. Fast forward to June 2018. After years of legal back and forth, Lil Wayne finally won his freedom. He settled with Cash Money for around $10 million, way less than the $51 million he had sued for, but enough to secure full ownership of his Young Money label. When Ty the Carter 5 finally dropped that September and debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, it felt like Wayne had broken free at last.
There was like a bunch of commotion. He walked in the middle of it, and he talked to the...
But here's the truth. Wayne wasn't the first artist to go through it, and he definitely wasn't the last. Birdman had a long history of clashes with his own camp. Juvenile, one of the original Hot Boys and the man behind the timeless Back That Ass Up, left Cash Money back in 2001, saying he was owed millions from his quadruple platinum album, 400 Degrees. In 2003, he hit Birdman with a $30 million lawsuit for unpaid royalties. He even admitted he didn't want to leave, but Birdman's handling of business forced his hand. Then there was Mannie Fresh, the architect behind the Cash Money sound. From Ha to Still Fly, he produced nearly every early hit that made the label legendary. But in 2005, Mannie bounced too, citing financial disputes and saying Birdman owed him major money. He claimed years of unpaid royalties for crafting the very sound that built the empire. And BG, the man who gave us Bling Bling, a track so iconic it literally added a new word to the dictionary, he left in 2002 over similar money issues. Then, after serving 11 years in federal prison, BG came home in 2025 and called Birdman out again, saying the man who once called him family never showed support while he was locked up. Then there's Turk, another Hot Boys original. In 2015, he filed a $1.3 million lawsuit against Cash Money, claiming unpaid royalties from both his Hot Boys days and his solo projects. By that point, the pattern was undeniable. Artist after artist, lawsuit after lawsuit, all pointing to the same story. Money problems, unpaid royalties, messy contracts, broken trust. It was the same song on repeat. And it wasn't coming from outsiders. It was the founding family of Cash Money itself. These weren't washed-up artists looking for attention. These were the people who helped build one of hip-hop's most powerful dynasties. Juvenile made a record that defined a generation. BG coined a term, Bling Bling, that became part of the Oxford English Dictionary in 2003. Mannie Fresh crafted the beats that shaped Southern rap forever. Turk helped form the Hot Boys, one of the most influential groups the South ever produced. These weren't nobodies, these were legends, all saying the same thing. They didn't get their fair cut. To be fair, Birdman hasn't stayed silent. Over the years, he's defended himself in interviews, saying he ran his business by loyalty and results, not contracts. He's pointed to his roster's success as proof, and honestly, he's not wrong that Cash Money changed the game. Under the Cash Money, Young Money banner came Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj, three of the biggest names in global music. The label's influence on hip-hop is undeniable. But as DJ Academics pointed out in a 2025 interview, Birdman's whole approach was what he called run and gun, moving fast, chasing instincts, worrying about the paperwork later. That raw hustle built a billion-dollar empire, no doubt, but it also left behind a trail of lawsuits, broken friendships, and artists who felt like they gave everything to the label and never got back what they truly deserved. And that, right there, is the paradox of Birdman, a boss who built a dynasty, but one whose empire always seemed to come with a shadow attached. And now, it feels like history might be repeating itself, this time with NBA YoungBoy, the new generation, the future of the game, and it all leads into what might be the most troubling chapter in Birdman's story, his complicated, emotional, and controversial relationship with YoungBoy himself. Because if that viral clip from December 2025 means anything, it raises the same haunting question that's followed Birdman for decades. Is he really a mentor trying to uplift these young artists, or is there something darker behind the curtain? NBA YoungBoy, real name Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, grew up rough in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Born in 1999, he exploded onto the scene in the mid-2010s. Is there something darker behind the curtain? NBA YoungBoy, real name Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, grew up rough in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Born in 1999, he exploded onto the scene in the mid-2010s with raw, emotional trap music that hit deep with millions. His pain was his power. Poverty, street struggles, legal troubles, and trauma all poured into his lyrics, and fans could feel it. He was a kid who needed guidance, and Birdman saw himself as the one to give it.
If it was an argument or whatever, he got in there and he was just like, yo, let's calm this down. Hold on. And he got both of them dudes who seemingly that could have been like a little situation. I don't know if it would be a fight or whatever. Just out of respect for him, they were just like, all right, we good.
According to Birdman, Atlantic Records practically handed YoungBoy to him while the rapper was locked up, unsure how to manage him during one of his early jail stints. Birdman stepped in, saying he'd take care of the young star, guide him, protect him, and show him the ropes of real business and hip-hop. By 2017 and 2018, that bond was clear for everyone to see. Birdman popped up on YoungBoy's track, We Poppin', straight off the AI YoungBoy mixtape. The two were seen together in studios, at private events, moving like family. Birdman couldn't stop praising YoungBoy either. In interviews, he called him one of the realest in the game. In 2021, reports even claimed Birdman offered to pay YoungBoy's $500,000 bond while he was facing a federal gun charge, a gesture that showed deep loyalty and financial investment. Birdman painted himself as the big homie, the father figure, the protector of the next generation. But then, just like with Lil Wayne, just like with Juvenile, just like every single artist who came before, the relationship turned sour. In June 2024, YoungBoy dropped a track called Tears of War, and it hit like a bomb. In the song, he rapped, "New Stunner never loved me, shoulda listened to Carter." Stunner, that's Birdman's nickname. Carter, that's Lil Wayne's last name. The message was crystal clear. Wayne had warned him, YoungBoy didn't listen, and now he felt betrayed. Think about that for a second. One of the biggest young rappers alive, with billions of streams and a fan base that worships him, calling out his mentor in public the exact same way Wayne did years before. It wasn't just history repeating, it was like watching the same movie all over again, just with a new generation of stars. And the timing made it even heavier. The song was recorded before YoungBoy's April 2024 arrest on prescription fraud charges, during the time he was stuck under house arrest in Utah, isolated and under pressure. According to the lyrics, the man who promised to stand by him had disappeared, leaving him alone when he needed support the most. Then came the flood. Videos started spreading online, claiming Birdman had been taking advantage of YoungBoy's fame. People said he locked him into unfair deals, pocketed more money from streams and shows than he should have, and taken advantage of YoungBoy's vulnerable state while he was dealing with legal trouble. Inside sources even whispered that Birdman's control behind the scenes was deeper and colder than anyone realized. But just when everyone thought it was over between them, something unexpected happened. By August 2025, rumors started floating that Birdman and YoungBoy had patched things up. DJ Academics, who was reportedly there, said Birdman walked right into what could have been a violent backstage altercation at one of YoungBoy's shows in New Orleans and completely diffused it with just his presence, like some kind of quiet boss move. That moment had people thinking, maybe, just maybe, there was still real loyalty there. Then, by October 2025, the two shocked everyone. Birdman and YoungBoy performed We Poppin' live together for the first time. The energy was unreal. The crowd went crazy, the chemistry was genuine, and footage from that night had fans thinking the duo was officially back on good terms. Word even started spreading about From the Bayou 2, a sequel to their earlier joint project, a clear sign that business was back on track. But then came December 2025. That's when that clip dropped, the one that blew everything wide open again. It showed Birdman and Youngboy in what looked like a heated, possibly controlling exchange. No audio context, no clear background, just tension in the air. The moment was described by viewers as chilling, and it reignited every accusation that's ever shadowed Birdman's name. Online, fans went wild, dissecting every frame. Some claimed it was proof that Birdman was emotionally manipulating Youngboy, exploiting his trauma and controlling his moves, just like people said he did with Lil Wayne years ago. There were even posts saying Birdman had been interfering in Youngboy's personal relationships and business decisions, trying to keep him dependent. Others pushed back hard, saying people were reading too much into a short clip. They pointed out Birdman's track record of turning artists into megastars, arguing that he's tough, not toxic, and that the man just demands loyalty from those he invests in. Still, the argument tore through the internet like wildfire, fans quoting Youngboy's own Tears of War lyrics as if they were confessions, others calling it media manipulation. But no matter which side you're on, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Artist after artist, decade after decade, the same story. Loyalty turned to betrayal, money mixed with mentorship, and emotions crossing into power plays. And maybe that's the scariest part of all this, because whether you believe Birdman is a misunderstood mogul who's been unfairly painted as the villain, or you believe he's the face of something much darker about how the music industry treats its young stars, one thing's for sure, the story isn't over. Birdman's influence on hip-hop is undeniable, but so are the shadows that follow it. Even artist advocates like Wendy Day, who spent decades fighting to protect urban artists from exploitation, have spoken out about these same patterns. The stories she's documented over the years about predatory contracts, financial manipulation, and young artists signing deals they barely understand mirror the accusations against Cash Money almost perfectly. It's a cycle that keeps spinning, bright dreams turning into confusing contracts that trap artists years down the line. And then there's Money Man. His story says a lot about how this game really works. Back in 2017, the Atlanta rapper signed with Cash Money, hoping to level up his career and step into a bigger spotlight. But it didn't take long before he realized what came with that deal. Just over a year later, in April 2018, Money Man bought himself out of his contract, paying $250,000, double what he was originally advanced. That move shocked everyone. In interviews, he broke it down plain and simple. I want 100% of the profit. No lawsuits, no drawn-out fights. He just handled it his way, clean and quick. His exit stood out because it was rare. Most artists never get that kind of freedom without years of court battles or public drama. Compared to the chaos of Lil Wayne's $51 million war with Cash Money, Money Man's story was the total opposite. Short, sharp, and silent. But it spoke volumes. So, where does that leave us now? As of January 2026, neither Birdman nor NBA Youngboy has said a word publicly about that viral December clip. The silence itself has turned into a storm. The internet's got questions and theories. Is Birdman really a father figure who lifts his artists up and protects them? Or is he a mastermind who uses loyalty and emotion as a tool to keep control, all while profiting from the very people he says he loves? Maybe the truth sits somewhere in between. Birdman did build one of the greatest empires in hip-hop history. He discovered legends. He created icons. Cash Money Records changed the sound of music forever, from Lil Wayne to Drake to Nicki Minaj. The label gave us decades of hits, music that defined generations, broke boundaries, and became the soundtrack to millions of lives. But there's another side to that story, one that's harder to celebrate. Because for every hit record, there's an artist who walked away hurt, artists who said they felt betrayed, artists who had to sue just to get their money.
But I honestly feel like that's every label though. Like that's that's a lot of labels. Like a lot of people get into the label signing and all that, and they don't realize that the business has to make money off of you. I mean, it is some deals or whatever that's like good per se, but most of the time you're gonna sign a messed up deal, especially if you're nobody and like you don't expect to blow up. They don't expect for you to blow up as big as you do, but at the same time, it's like you really can't. It's business. I mean, I get it. It's business. So, you know.
Money. Artists who lost years of their lives in legal battles instead of in the studio. Some had to buy themselves out just to get free. And when you really look at it, the pattern never changes. A young artist signs on, the artist pops off, the money starts flowing, then come the questions. Where's my cut? Suddenly, things turn sour. The relationship crumbles, the artist walks, and the cycle starts all over again. It's been the same story for 30 years, just with new names and new faces each time. So, what is it really? Exploitation or just the cold reality of the music business? Maybe it's both.
I just said that. I literally just said that. That was the wrong button. I just said that.
Going off about how he was the one who started the whole trend of diamonds and teeth and face tattoos. The confrontation was all caught on video, and within hours, it was everywhere. Clips were getting reposted, memes flooded timelines, and everyone had an opinion. By January 2026, Kenny Brooks finally broke his silence and explained what really went down. In a video, he said, "I unintentionally said something to make Birdman upset." He made it clear that his cake and ice cream line was meant as a compliment, not disrespect. It was all love, but by then, the internet had already run wild with it. The memes when truth sits somewhere in between. Birdman did build one of the greatest empires in hip-hop history. He discovered legends, he created icons. Cash Money Records changed the sound of music forever, from each time. So, what is it really? Exploitation or just the cold reality of the music business? Maybe it's both, because this industry, it's built on pressure, power, and blurred lines between family and finance. You can be loved like a son one minute and treated like a contract the next. Fortunes are made and lost overnight, and loyalty doesn't always pay the bills until someone, whether it's NBA Youngboy, Lil Wayne, BG, Juvenile, Turk, or even Birdman himself, sits down and tells the full, uncut story of what really happens behind those closed studio doors at Cash Money Records. We might never know what really happens. But one thing's for sure, the footage Birdman's own people dropped in late 2025 lit a fire under hip-hop's biggest question again. And this time, it's not fading away anytime soon. This story's bigger than one man. It's about power, money, and legacy colliding. And if you're still here watching, you already know this conversation is just getting started. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Tell us what you think about the Birdman legacy. Is he a misunderstood mogul or the face of hip-hop's biggest problem? Let's talk about it. And don't forget to hit that bell because we've got more wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it is what it is, bro. You know.